A beautiful, beautiful evening to you. Welcome to yet another pulsating, scintillating, and I tell you something, breathtaking edition of Echo Sports on Echo FM 100.7 Owerri. This evening with me, Kachi Sports, alongside Noble the Sports Chef. Something interesting is, well, I'll call it interesting because with 80 goals, and that's also not just 80 goals, with 58 assists. He played a total of 130 matches. Of course, he won the Confederations Cup, also the Olympics game when Brazil hosted it themselves. Also won South American Under-20 Nations Cup. Finally, he's called it to quit. I remember when he was announced as a member of the Brazilian World Cup contingent, he dropped down crying because he was desperate, going to the last World Cup. Anyway, he got to go in a match the day they were eliminated. He got a goal courtesy of penalty. And finally, he's called it a quit, talking about Neymar Jr. He is done playing for the Brazilian national team. But I'm sure he's not done playing for the club football. Good evening. Welcome, Noble.
Good evening, Moin Chaabani. The way you started, I was thinking you were talking about the Super FALCONs because anyway, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. You understand? Good evening to all those out there listening to the sound of our voices. It's a wonderful Wednesday. Today being the 29th day of July 2026. July has come through and is about to say goodbye. Buenas noches until we meet again next year. And it's a wonderful period to spend 1 hour with Moin Chaabani and Noble the Sports Chef right here in the Sporting Kitchen of Echo 100.7 FM. Remember that we also live on Facebook. Go on to Facebook, Echo FM, Echo 100.7 FM, as well as on YouTube. Drop in your comments as we dish them out, as we prepare them, as we serve them. Be it the way we fry them, be the way we boil them, be the way we roast them. Don't worry, this rainy season, we got you covered. The Premier League is coming, the club football is coming back, and we also are looking at Neymar Jr. Scored a brace in his first game after the World Cup for Santos, though they didn't win that particular game. And reports have it that by December, he may not be with Santos. He may look for greener pastures elsewhere. But an illustrious career for that young man. And let's see what the future holds for him in club football.
All right, and let's subscribe for Neymar Jr., but that's not going to be all because just like Noble said, we'll be looking at the performance, the shocking result of the Super FALCONs against the Malawian ladies.
It shocked you?
Yeah, it was a shocking result.
Shocked me.
Well, anyway, we'll look at that. We'll look at that particular match, and then, of course, we'll have a couple of news the NSC telling the Super FALCONs what to do. Madugu himself has come to defend his tactics in that particular game. Tunisia Federation up with a new coach. We'll also be looking at this particular proposal coming from FIFA, which is coming with, should I use the word, an inducement? Because FIFA says if you accept within a period of time, they will give you $20 million, and after some time, you get the remaining $40 million for them to, kind of lease out their, matches, including the World Cup.
A very funny proposal.
A lot of attack coming from left, right, and center. Though we've not heard much from the African side of it. So many, confederations have been coming on FIFA, but apart from Africa. We're going to be looking at all of this in this particular edition of Echo Sports. So please stay tuned with us because it promises to be very, very interesting. All right, moving on. Let's begin from Africa. Today's going to be, somehow. Let's begin from what's happening in Africa. There's a fresh crisis at the moment that has emerged in the Senegalese football after the country Minister of Sports said they won't be giving any compensation that may be arising from the termination of the contract of their former coach, Pape Thiaw. According to report, the ministry has formally informed the Senegalese Football Federation that they will not assume or take responsibility of any financial, involvement, which may be with respect to parting ways with the former coach. The ministry maintained that any decision to terminate Thiaw's contract rests solely with the FSC, as they insist that the federation must bear the full cost of any compensation due for the coach. Now, the development is expected to increase tension with the Senegalese football, with the federation now facing prospect of, getting the contractual settlement, because if you sack someone like that, now you have to settle the person. But the Minister of Sports is saying, look, no be we go settle you. We are not the ones that is responsible or that are responsible for settling you. It has to come from the FA. The latest dispute adds to the growing administrative challenges that surrounding Senegalese football as the uncertainty, continues with respect to what's going on, in Senegalese football. Now, the question is, we all saw what happened. The Senegalese team, they went to the World Cup, were very, very wonderful in their match against Belgium. But since after losing that, I would say throwing away that 2-0 lead, starting from the 85th minute, it's not been, easy for the Senegalese Football Federation and for the talking about the Senegalese national team. This is one of the teams before the World Cup, one of the teams we've been hailing because they've won under 20.
AFCON finalists.
Yes,
potential winners of the AFCON 2025.
Based off of what's going to come up from the CSA, involvement in this particular case. They are one of the teams before now we've been hailing, we've been, kind of looking at as a good example for African football, the development of African football. What's going on?
Well, first off, from the statements, let's take it that I'm a layman. From the statements that the Senegalese Ministry of Sports have brought out, that they are not in charge, that he should referring him back to the Senegalese FA. So now this is Ministry of Sports. Are they trying to tell me that the FA are working independently? Are they trying to tell me that probably that's how their structure is? Hiring and firing. Settlement of bills, settlements of contractual obligations,
has to be
it's in the hands of the FA. Probably that is it. And if that is the case, then I don't know why the case came to the table of the Ministry of Sports. Now, that is where the question comes through. Why did it come? If that is the structure, why is this statement coming through from? Why are they involved? You understand? It's just like when we spoke about the independent group, the human rights group that wrote to the Olympics Committee, stating that look at what FIFA did, and the Olympic Committee came out and said that
what's our business with
it's not our business. It is not in our purview. You understand? So if this structure has been there, that the hiring and firing, settlement of bills and contractual obligation is in the hands of the Senegalese FA. Fine and good. This particular statement they shouldn't even answer it. They shouldn't. The statement they should have included that this is not in our purview. You understand?
Yes,
it is not in our. It's not in our.
So for you to see that there must be something, because for the thing to get to them,
something. So is it that they are running away from their responsibilities? Because definitely there's something that there should be a contract, and yes, there are good times. I know when Pape Thiaw came through and Senegal had a good time, they had a good run, and everyone was cheering them on, and they were winning games. You see them firing on, and now this has come true. They had a very poor and abysmal outing right there at the 2026 World Cup, coming through to the fact that they didn't even win a game after 4 matches.
Even lucky, one of the best, they
just based off on the final game. That's the only game. One win in 4 games. You understand? So a very, very poor run for the Senegalese side. And fine and good. You don't want to do anything with the coach. You don't want to give him the opportunity to go look at his mistakes and look at how he can correct it and move on. Fine and good. And you say thank you very much for working with me. But he is under contract.
Sure.
He's under contract, because most of the times people sign a contract that in a situation where you want to fire me, you have to, you understand, pay me the remaining salary that is in this contract. Some people actually wait for your contract to get exhausted before you can. Remember, this is a man that was working. As of February, he cried out that his salary has not been paid. Bonuses have not been given to him.
Even ahead of the World Cup,
even making it to the finals of the World Cup, regardless of how that particular final at the AFCON. Thank you very much. Regardless of how that AFCON ended, and ultimately, this is the same man that has come through under 4 or 5 months, still in the headlines. And the Senegalese FA or Ministry of Sports, I don't know what they're doing over there. I don't know how the structure is over there. But the question still remains, for the fact that they came out to make this particular statement, there is something that they are not telling us. Now, the Football Association of Senegal should also give out a response to this and tell us who. Are we going to the Ministry of Finance?
Or should this guy go empty-handed?
Are we going to go to the Ministry of Finance and also tell them, look at the contract, this is what the contract stipulates, and also let us
because if we look at what was obtained in Nigeria, which is I believe it was obtained elsewhere, the FA definitely would be under the Ministry of Sports.
The FA is under the Ministry of Sports, and if you see how things run through, the NFF gets the green light from the NFF gets the green light from the NSC, and you can see how it goes through. It goes through the ministry, and then anything that has to do with sports is under the Ministry of Sports. You understand? And also looking at the NSC playing its own role, going into various arms, and before you can get into the financial aspect of things, where they go into the Ministry of Finance, you get remember the statement that Shehu Diko stated, as well as the well-meaningful honorable members for the sporting aspect for Nigeria. They said that why they didn't give out the lagis that was meant to be given out since the WAFCON triumph in Morocco, the past edition of the WAFCON. It's based off on the fact that they were hindrances when it comes down to the Ministry of Sports and those who were in charge of the financial aspect of things. So you see how there's a structure. So this is where the Senegalese side, probably Pape Thiaw will be the one to know how he will follow through. He will definitely follow through, and it's going to be a huge disgrace if this particular drama gets into courts, because Senegal, they're already in courts. So for this to continue, you definitely know that there's something wrong coming through from Senegal.
All right, still looking at the fallouts of the World Cup for African countries. Now, why the Senegalese are trying to play Ujoro, I don't know what we're going to call it, with their own coach. We remember that there was also an issue with the Tunisian side, with the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia, when it also has to do with the coaches. But, well, they've moved on. They used 2 coaches in one World Cup, and were not able to qualify from the group stage. But then, they've tried to, this is what I like about, learning from your mistake and dusting up. Why? The Tunisian Football Federation, known as shortly as FTF, they have appointed Moin Chaabani as head coach of the senior national team for a 4-year contract that will keep him in charge till 2030. That's the next World Cup. The 45-year-old succeeds French coach Hervé Renard, who oversaw the Tunisia final 2 matches at the FIFA 2026 World Cup after Saibari Lamouchi was dismissed owing to his abysmal 5-1 defeat in the hands of Sweden in the opening game. Now, in the statement, the FTF have confirmed that the executive committee, they've approved the appointment of Chaabani and his coaching staff to lead the Carthage Eagles into a new era. Renard was unable to reverse the Tunisia fortune at the World Cup, with the North African side, of course, suffering 4-0 and 3-1 defeat in the hands of Japan and Netherlands. Well, the disappointment campaign marked the first time Tunisia had lost all 3 matches at FIFA World Cup as a country. Now, Chaabani arrives with an impressive club pedigree. We need to talk about this guy. He has a good club pedigree. He recently departed Moroccan side Renaissance do Barkane after guiding the club to their first maiden domestic league, that is during the 2024-2025 campaign, in addition to winning the 2025 CAF Confederations Cup. So you need to know this guy, Chaabani. He was the guy that won the 2025 CAF Confederations Cup. The former aspirant Tunisia just listen to the clubs I'm mentioning so that you know that this guy somehow, we can say for now, he's equal to the task. He was a former Esperance of Tunisia coach. He also boasts of 2 CAF Champions League titles, cementing his reputation as one of North Africa's most accomplished gaffers. However, the Tunisian's role will definitely be his first assignment as a coach in the international level. Now, Tunisia have experienced magnificent instability, appointing different coaches since 2024. Chaabani's immediate focus will be definitely to help them qualify for next edition of the Nations Cup, which begins in September. Well, Tunisia has been drawn into Group H alongside Uganda, Libya, and Botswana. Chaabani, 2 CAF Champions League, a Confederations Cup, and also a Tunisian, cup.
Now, this is a coach, I might go to use the word indigenous coach, because this is a man who has handled experience to Tunisia, and he has actually gotten through a remarkable pedigree for himself. And looking at the fact that even reports that came through from RS Bekane, they stated that they've amicably released him, citing the particular importance of the role of managing the national team. So the national team comes first. They didn't come through to say, okay, he can do his work as a coach of Bekane and also as a head coach of the Tunisian national team, which is something that we've constantly seen in the Nigerian footballing space, where you see a head coach of a club side going into being part of the backroom staff of the national team.
And then taking off from there.
Well, ultimately, the Nigerian Football Federation, they have their reasons why they are doing that, but ultimately, I feel that that's the divided attention, and it definitely will not go well when it comes down to the growth of the Nigerian football as well as the club side football. But now, Chaabani right now, he happens to be the 8th coach since 2024.
Can you imagine the concomitancy?
The 8th coach since 2024. They've had 7 coaches. Chaabani comes through to be the 8th coach. Back in starting off this 2026, 4 coaches. 4 coaches have handled this national team. Start of 2026, the coach that took them through the disappointing run at the Nations Cup, he was sacked. And then when you look at how things have come through, they've had the likes of Lamucci, who took them to the World Cup. The first game of the World Cup, it was a disgrace, a total blunder, and he was asked to leave. And then we have Hervé Renard, who came through for the 2 remaining games. It would have been a miracle if Hervé Renard actually made it through to the knockout round with the Tunisian side. He tried his best with the Carthage Eagles.
But was also bombarded.
He was bombarded. But you could see a difference, you understand? Because it's something that you need to... now, he has to work with a pool of 25, 26 players.
That has been given to him.
And he has to work with them in less than 1 week to play. It just... In a space of 2 weeks, he played 2 games. So it would have been a miracle for Hervé Renard. And definitely, the Tunisian side and Hervé Renard will know the kind of contract they've actually give to him to help through.
But I think what the FA have done now is very interesting and impressive. Just forget about what has happened in the past. Look forward and move on. Can Senegal do the same thing?
Yes, look forward and move on. It also comes through in 2 different ways. This is a 4-year contract for a man that this is his
something that should also give him more confidence, because he has
more confidence. But this is his first time that he is handling a national team. This is the first time he's getting into the national team. It is too much, because that's why I feel it is too much. At least it come through. Okay, we've given you. We've seen that it's not. I'm not disregarding the fact that he's a good coach. Domestically, or when it comes down to club football
and African
football generally, he has done brilliantly well. But ultimately, we have to understand that national team setup is very, very different. It's very different, and also looking at the fact that this is a team that right now they are in shambles because the structure is not there. They need to restructure, and that will be Chaabani's primary assignments. Restructure and revitalize the squad after the World Cup disaster, and also going into the fact that his first major competitive test will arrive this particular September when the AFCON qualifiers come through, and it's going to be a tough one. They are in a tough group that has Uganda, Libya, and Botswana, and ultimately, when you see the routes through which Tunisia qualified for the World Cup, you can see that they faced foes. They didn't lose a game. They just played out about 6 games, 6 victories and 1 draw. They didn't lose a game. They were very, very impressive. And also going through to the caliber of of opponents that Tunisia would actually meet. When you see Uganda, Cranes of Uganda, Libya, as well as Botswana, I believe that is actually when it comes down to footballing pedigree, I believe that is Uganda that can actually give them a run for their money. So it's more like, is it ties a game? Are they going to judge him? Because this is definitely his first game will be what will be used to judge him, and he definitely will put up friendlies first off before going to tackle this game. September, bigger. So Chaabani has a lot on his hands, and everyone will look at first. Chaabani has come through, and they will also look at his coaching staff. Is he going to work with those that are? Is he going to work with those that he has been working at the club level? Who is going to make through the backroom staff for this Tunisian side? The Tunisian side want to look forward and quickly get back to get this. This is more like a blot on the stain. They don't stain their whites, and they won't find hypo. They won't find bleach where they go use wash off this particular stain where they get. So ultimately, Chaabani, you've been put on the pedestal right now. You've been put on the spotlight. Club football. This is where you would use it to ascertain the fact that when you see club football, you've seen the national team set up, and you know that Tunisian North African side, they are the ones that try to infuse
their
home-based players, and he knows the home-based players quite a lot because he has been there.
That may also help.
That may also help him scaling through as a Tunisian head coach.
All right, still Echo Sports on Echo FM 100.7 over with me, Kachi Sports and Noble, the sports chef. Now, it's time for us to come back home. And most of you will be waiting for me to talk about the Super Falcons. Well, it's no longer news that the Super Falcons of Nigeria lost yesterday 3-2 to the debutants Malawian women national team in their opening game of the ongoing WAFCON, and I can assure you that that particular result has, generated a lot of controversies, a lot of scares, and everyone is it's also as well has given hopes to the other teams, Zambia and Egypt, who are definitely going to be the two next opponents of the Super Falcons. But then, be that as it may, it's no longer news. I'm sure you know the result already. But let's look at the reactions. The Super Eagles, the Super Falcons head coach, Justin Madugu, he has come out to defend his tactical decisions following the Nigerians' shocking 3-2 defeat to the women's African Cup of Nations debutants, Malawians, as he insists criticisms over his team selection and player position were inevitable after the loss. Now, when he was talking during the post-match press conference, Madugu accepted responsibility for one of Nigeria's most surprising defeats in the WAFCON history, but rejected suggestions that deploying players outside their preferred positions contributed to that particular abysmal result. The defeat leaves Nigeria, defending champions, under serious pressure ahead of the crucial Group C encounter against Zambia, with scrutiny mounting over the team's tactical approach. One of the major talking points after that particular match was Madugu's decision to play Mitchell Alozie at left back, while several other players also operate in different unfamiliar roles and positions. That tactical setup drew a lot of criticism from supporters and pundits, but the coach maintained that those decisions were not responsible for Nigeria's defensive lapses and flaws. And then Nigeria must now regroup quickly and as soon as possible ahead of very, very important Group C clash against Zambia, Chiwangba and Co., where the Super Falcons will be seeking an immediate response to keep their hopes of, advancing to the semi-final. Of course, you know that the four countries advancing to the semi-final will be the ones, first of all, automatically qualifying for next year's Women World Cup. Now, the question is this. It didn't only stop there. I also want you to know that the Director General of the National Sports Commission, talking about Oga Honorable Bukola Olapade, has called on the Super Falcons to produce a strong response in their second Group C match against Zambia at the ongoing WAFCON. The defending champions, of course, suffered 2-1 defeat. Now, earlier, Zambia themselves announced their arrival in emphatic fashion after a 6-0 victory over Egypt, sending up high-stakes encounter against the Super Falcons of Nigeria in Rabat. Reacting on the setback, Olapade urged the Super Falcons to demonstrate why they remain the most successful women national team on the continent by defeating Zambia and reviving Nigerians' chances of progressing. Now, the director, he wasn't speaking, in a harsh way. That's what he should do anyway, as a father and as somebody who's a leader. He's encouraging them to make sure that at least they pick up the maximum point against Zambia. But is Madugu right to defend his tactical abilities?
Well, for me, I'm going to say that it's a general thing right now. The whole team was very, very poor in that encounter, start to finish. Okoronkwo also came out to say that why they lost that game was because of the way they started. That they started it on a flat note. They were flat-footed. It was actually their opponents. Looking at the Malawians, they were the scorchers of Malawi. They scorched the Super Falcons. The coach stated that they were going to go all out, and that is what they did against the Super Falcons of Nigeria. So ultimately, Justin Madugu, he stated that when it comes down to seeing how things have come through for the Super Falcons of Nigeria, that this is something that you have to carry on based off on the fact that you are the best. Everyone is going to come up against you, and a situation where things don't go right, that everyone will be against you, that this is the winners, the losers tax, the losing team tax, that ultimately, and when you look at it, when the going is good, everyone supports, everyone follows up the Super Falcons. They were able to come from 2 goals down. I still believe they will go. They were able to come from 2 goals down and they beat Morocco right there in their backyard and won the 10th WAFCON title. Right now, First off, I've been crying about the lack of preparations that has been invested in this particular team. I spoke about the fact that this is the team after the WAFCON. The very first game that he played was going into the qualifiers for this particular WAFCON again. That is the friendly game that they've missed a couple of windows, friendly windows that have been put across, and they didn't get adequate friendlies. It's been over a year plus that Nigeria actually played a high-profile game. I believe the last time was against Brazil, I believe, where they played out to draw with Brazil. And going into the World Cup, that is where they met the Matildas of Australia, they met the Lionesses of England and teams like that. This is how you put out the best of the best in Africa. You don't always give them teams that you know that Hamish Ibidania had a win. At some point, you have to push them beyond their limits, push them. And ultimately, this is where they've been pushed by the Malawians, and this is where you have to put out the men's house. A lot of people, some people have actually come out to say that this is not the first time that Nigeria have been in this particular situation. It has happened before, and the Super FALCONs went all the way and won. I believe that should be in 2022 or thereabout. They went all the way and won the WAFCON. Most times, cases don't go that way for you. Yes, history has a way of repeating itself, but ultimately, what happens if history does not repeat itself? Because what is at stake right now is actually the World Cup together. I keep on saying this. They should not put up the mindset of going up to win the 11th WAFCON. They should first of all secure their place in the semi-finals, and then let's start from there to talk about the 11th WAFCON title. The Malawians have opened up their eyes to see that there are a lot of flaws there. And ultimately, this is where Justin Madugu should show himself that when push comes to shove, that he has a way to tactically adapt when the going gets tough. Michelle Alozie was pushed into the left back because naturally she's good. I believe the coach looked at it and stated that, okay, with the defenders that we have, she's the one who could actually whip up across with her weaker foot, because she can make use of her both legs. But at some point, there's a reason why it's called a weaker foot. At some point, when you continuously look at it, when you continuously use it, at some point it's going to not give you the very best. She misplaced passes in that particular encounter. And when you go over to the other side, Oladipo is known as a centre back when it comes down to playing for the Roma women's team, and she was named the best defender in the Italian league, women's league, and you're using her as a right back. At some point, look at it, it wasn't working because Oladipo was not getting the crosses in. She was not getting the crosses. She was making the runs fine and good, but the final product wasn't getting there. And when you see the final product for Alozie, she's good with the crosses, she's good with passes, she's good with making that in runs and also connecting football, connecting the dots. She reads the game perfectly. At some point, you tactically swap players, or you bring in another player that can actually give you that good dominance in that encounter. And this is where you also get to enhance the defensive prowess of your attackers. On various occasions, we've seen attackers who have been made use of as defenders. When it comes down to seeing Rhys James have gone from midfield to a midfielder. When it comes through to see a couple of players, Perisic at some point, most of his career was used as a winger, but going into the fact that his career is getting into the closing stages, he has been used as more of a right back and a left back as a defender. So this is where Justin Madugu needs to adapt. Yes, Ashley Plumter is not there. Does it mean that we cannot have someone that can, yes, it may not be like for like, but someone who can bring in a different energy? Don't we have an ideal left back? Definitely not be now way Ashley Plumter get injury. You weren't looking around for a left back that can actually sit in and fit in the bill? Because the WAFCON came through, it should have been played in February. And how many months, February to this very moment, you couldn't find an ideal candidate to play at a left back. So apart from firing onto Justin Madugu, but I'm putting on the blame on Justin Madugu, Jamaica Nodezi, the team. But to me, it was a general thing. It's more of a team, a pop of man from the team, not about players who are out of position. But these are a couple of things that we can pick out. But ultimately, this is where the game starts for Nigeria. We've complained over social media and how things have influenced. Even he stated that at some point, social media also found a way to influence the team. And let's see how we can actually come through. So losing team tax attacks. In a situation where things don't work out for you, this is where there'll be a lot of public backlash, a backlash that'll come through for the team. Core defense and also looking at how things have come through. This is where they have to. Their next game is against Zambia. Zambia whitewashed, they demolished Egypt. You understand? So one will say, okay, let's see, this is a team that the Malawians played more of a low block and a counter attack. They are going to come up against an attacking team, and we know that the Super Falcons always do well against an attacking team. And this is it's a win or nothing for Nigeria, because 3 points will bring them back into talking places to make it into the knockout stages before they go on to meet Egypt.
All right, Ali, we're not taking anything away from the Malawian side. They are debutants, and we must say congratulations to them, led by Chiwangwa, Temma Chiwangwa, who did very well to score 2 goals in that particular encounter. The Super Falcons need to do well in their next game. Now, moving on.
Talking about Chawinga, she's actually the younger sister of the known Chawinga.
Yes.
Talking about Tabitha Chawinga, who is the highest goal scorer in the African women's football. So a massive good family lineage for her there, winning a back-to-back in the United States. She won 2024-2025 Golden Boot. She actually won it for herself. So it's not that she just came out of nowhere. She's someone who is known to bring terror to defenders.
All right, moving on now and going outside. We'll come back to Nigeria. The vice president of German FA on Wednesday, I'm going to begin with what he said, slammed FIFA's decision, controversial decision this time around, to sell stakes in its competition, including World Cup, as an outright attack on football. According to him, of course, FIFA announced on Tuesday that they were to create semi-private subsidiary which would sell part of its business's operation in the World Cup and other competitions, hoping to raise around $4.2 billion. Now, the plan would still have to be approved by a 38-member FIFA Council and the majority of its 211 member associations. FIFA said it has intention to present the plans to the council soon. Well, according to Hans Joachim Waske, the DFB vice president, who is also a president of Bundesliga side, Borussia Dortmund, and a vice president of UEFA Executive Committee, he joined the chorus of critical his critical appraisal of that particular plan. European Football Governing Body, talking about UEFA, which has been very critical about Infantino, they criticized the plan as a proposed sale of the game's soul. Now, another federation, CONCACAF, which governs North and Central American football, said it was deeply concerned by the lack of due process. Now, these are the statements coming from different angle. UEFA say is a proposed sale of the soul of the game. CONCACAF say that they're deeply concerned by the lack of due process involved in this idea. Earlier on in July, of course, the DFB confirmed AFP subsidiary SID refused to sign a letter supporting Infantino's re-election. Now, former President Infantino himself has written to all 211 member associations, offering to give, let me mention the name, $40 million, which is 30 million pounds, 30 million euro, to those that support his controversial proposal to sell stakes in the governing body's major competitions. Now, according to 5-page letter seen by news people, Infantino said member associations that approved the plan by September 9 would be eligible to receive initial $20 million, that's about 15 million euro, from January 1st, 2027, with further 20 million to follow after that. That proposal involves the creation of commercial subsidiary. FIFA, the name of the commercial subsidiary will be FIFA Forward Enterprise, which would manage the organization's flagship competitions, including the men's and women's World Cup competitions. And of course, external investors would be allowed to acquire majority stakes in the new company. According to Infantino, the initiative could generate up to $10 billion dollars to expand funding for football development around the world. But a lot of people are criticizing this particular idea, which FIFA says will be known as a FIFA Forward Enterprise.
Well, the criticism is there, and definitely it's valid, based off on the fact that when it comes down to looking at the English FA, the spokesperson for English FA came out to state that they were not informed. They didn't know about this until FIFA went public concerning this particular movement. And a couple of people would actually say, what's the difference between this and the Super League? You understand? Because right now, FIFA is actually acting more like they can do anything.
Without
Infantino is acting more like he can do anything without actually needing the votes. Because right now, reports have it that the way it's being done is not like you're voting, it's more like you are supporting. Votes are not being casted.
And
right
money
now,
is being mentioned as to why.
They will send out letters to you, to various
they have done that
member associations, and then your response, if you agree, first off, they're going to give you that 15 million pounds, and then later on 15 million pounds would also be added to you to make up the 30 million pounds or 40 million dollars equivalent to that. And also there's certain remark that has it that it's either that 40 million dollars or a $10 billion development funding package if you back this particular scheme. The English FA are looking at it. If this could happen and you couldn't actually inform member associations, how can you actually assure the integrity of this particular movement that you want to carry out? FIFA, when you look at it, talking about the FIFA Forward Enterprise, and then you can see that where I'm going to also take this angle is that the fact that reactions have come through from CONCACAF, reactions have come through from South America, it has come through for Asia, but no reaction has actually come through from Africa.
That's what I asked earlier.
No reaction has come through from Africa. And at the same time, remember that it is stated that most of member associations have actually backed the return to office, next tenure for Infantino by 2027. So with this, are they going to change their mindsets for the re-election of Infantino? This is a question that they also have to look into. Because what is happening, it's turning about, yes, you're telling the minority stake, and right now, it opens the door to investors coming in. And then what can you, when we are talking about integrity, how much can you tell this member association that when you open the door for these investors to come in, you're telling them that FIFA would maintain most of the regulations
of this particular competition, because businessmen are coming in, you cannot regulate their money.
You're bringing in businessmen. How can you tell a businessman that he wants to foster his business and he has invested, and you're telling him that
means it is possible for any businessman to make sure that a particular country wins the World Cup.
Right now, you're turning into business. Now, FIFA, they are insisting that it will retain its sole control over sports governance, tournament regulation,
so why
and
you
international match calendar. And then you bring in a businessman that knows that if the way this regulation is going, it's not going to actually help him foster it's not actually going to foster his business, and he tells you to bend the rules for him.
Yes,
why would you bend
win
the rules? And the situation now, Infantino is here at this very moment. And when you sell stakes, they are stating that it's a minority stakes for the meantime. When you sell it at your own tenure, and then we go over to someone else taking up that particular position, how can you tell that person how he's going to handle it? Because now you've given the room, you've opened the doors. And for investors, private investors to come through, and also looking at a couple of people who are, and then they are saying that some of the investors are also part of the investors in Trump's organization.
Wow.
I'm not talking his private family business.
Yes, not American business.
He has been questioned. President of FIFA has been questioned. Infantino has been questioned about his involvement. They've also told him that he should surrender a bit cash, an invoice of the money that he has gotten from Trump, be it from Trump or from his family members or even from his family business, gifts that he has received and the ones that he has given and all that. So this is coming through from someone who is currently under the pressure and also being investigated, or probably en route to be investigated concerning his ties to Donald Trump and his family business. I'm not talking about Donald Trump, the president of America, but Donald Trump, the entrepreneur.
As an entrepreneur.
Donald Trump that has a family business, and definitely a billionaire, which he is, will definitely look forward to expanding his wealth, his source of wealth. And then we are looking at it. We've gotten the plan. We have seen the incentive where FIFA, Gianni Infantino, has set a deadline as well. 19th September, for you to accept this $40 million a total payout, or a total of $10 billion development funding package. if you back this particular scheme. So a lot of reactions are coming through. UEFA are totally against it. Reactions have come through from Asia, has come through from South America. Africans, what do they do? What are we doing? Why can't we say a statement? Oh yeah, make statements. Yes, we want to back Infantino. We want to collect this 10 billion development project.
That's where we will always somehow be behind, because it looks like our own federations here, based on one or two corrupt practices and whatever, what they're interested is in getting money. In fact, some of them are already extending their hand. Man, you know how much $10 million, $20 million is, some of them already, I believe, are already extending their hand. What they want to, I believe that African federations definitely will accept this one, because they know this will bring money. But the fear is this: if you allow this to go through, it is actually going to be a problem for football.
Control? Yes, how much control? Blatter himself has said that this is a corporate sellout.
Blatter has his own is just corporate sellout of the business. So I think for me, just like I said before, the North Africa, North America, Central America, Caribbean Association, UEFA, all of them have come to say no, no, and no. But even if this is going to happen, it can't be something you just wake up one night, write letter, and distribute to 211 member association and accept us to expect us to accept.
Deadline.
The danger is this: let's all know, or we all know that business is business. If you get me involved, that means I'm going to invest millions, right? If I'm going to invest that millions, I'm definitely expecting, a profit. Therefore, it is very, very possible that this businessman can determine who wins the World Cup. It is no longer going to be based on what you play out.
And also, what happens to the member associations that do not give you a response, that do not back it?
That means they will be victimized.
So, are you going to victimize them? Are you going to also, this 40 million payout that you're, $40 million that you're paying out, in a situation, is it not still the money that was generated based off on their contributions in the past? Because if there is no World Cup, if there are no member association coming across competing, how would you raise this amount of money that FIFA has right now? So are they not entitled to this particular money as well, whether they agree to your view or not? In a situation you brought up this view, I didn't even tell them about the view, and then you're giving them a deadline to give you a response to a view that, yes, you want to improve the financial aspect of things, you want to make it a business aspect, and a lot of people have come out to say that, talking about, even it has gotten to the Prime Minister of England, when it comes down to the fact that Andy Burnham noted that the World Cup is not a product for sale.
It shouldn't be.
The UK Prime Minister, it has come out. He has gone. He's come out. A lot of people have come out. So political leaders, individuals, fans, backlash all left, right, and center. Is this not the same thing that we saw during the Super Cup? And also, based off on this, it's Gianni Infantino going to step back a bit, and will this also affect his re-election come 2027?
Very, very important. Well, let's see how this whole drama is going to play out. I believe he said he's going to present to the executive committee and the rest of them. Let's see how this drama, how it's going to play out in the in the next weeks coming, months coming. Let's see what's going to happen. But trust me, with the kind of backlash this is getting, I don't see it seeing the light of the day. All right, moving away a bit away, we'll go back to football. Nigeria's boys team, they have secured a place in the final of the 2026 CAVB Under-18 African Nations Volleyball Championship after they beat Cameroon 3-0 in a commanding semi-final performance in Alexandria. Now, the Nigerian youngsters have produced another clinical display to sweep aside their Central African opponents in a 25-16, 25-20, and 25-19, extending their unbeaten run and reinforcing their credentials as one of the best in the Africa, and of course one of the favorites. So let's see how that goes on. All right, we're hearing that the UEFA's are based on this particular problem. We're hearing that the UEFA 25 member association, they'll be having an emergency meeting later this particular week so that they can discuss this particular controversial proposal sales stake. So, of course, like I told you, so many people are talking about it. Now, let's move to Spain. An interesting news is saying that a Spain defender, Cucurella, he has honored his promise that should Spain win the World Cup, he's going to have a tattoo of Luis de la Fuente, the coach, on his skin. Cucurella was part of the Spain squad that defeated Argentina 1-0 to lift the World Cup, earlier this month. The Real Madrid defender who joined the club from Chelsea, in 52 million, has come to fulfill his promise of having the tattoo of his coach, Luis de la Fuente, on his skin. All right, today we are going to be looking at a couple of transfer news because so many of you have been asking us about transfer. It's important to let you know at the moment that a paper in Portugal is reporting that Newcastle United have agreed a deal with Braga to sign Czech keeper Lucas Hensiks for 30 million. We also are getting this news, a very interesting one if you ask me, that Juventus have agreed a deal with PSG to resign Randa Colomwani for 45 million after underperforming and of course underperforming loan spell at Spurs. Now, after reportedly agreeing to sign Danny Welbeck, Chelsea now look to have completed a deal to sign another experienced player, Jordan Henderson. These two players are going to join Chelsea. I would like to have your thought about these two players, Henderson and Danny Welbeck joining Chelsea. We see a Chelsea side that will blame last season for having a lot of young players, in their squad and not having a central and a commander in the team. Is this why?
Little conversation behind the scenes based off on why Enzo Maresca decided to actually depart is because that the youngsters were a lot and he wanted experience and based off on it wasn't part of the Chelsea project with Todd Bowley. They actually decided to let part ways with Enzo Maresca. These are a little bit of the squabbles coming through, rumors coming through from back of the curtain for Chelsea. And right now we have Xabi Alonso, and Xabi Alonso was someone that he has come through, shown that he can win games and win titles, also break barriers based off on what he did with Bayer Leverkusen back in the German Bundesliga, and also not just win titles but show that he can sustain it, because when Real Madrid first came for him, he decided to stay back until the season after the title winning run, went over to Real Madrid, did not really do particularly bad, but based off on Real Madrid has a standard, but he didn't meet up to that particular standard. But he kept them in the top two. He kept Real Madrid in the touching distance with Barcelona, looking until he was sacked, and then Arbeloa, a former teammate as well, also took up the reins at Real Madrid, and then coming into the terrain that he found himself playing when he played with Liverpool in the English Premier League. Now he's coming back as manager, and right there in the London club, and he has gone through a couple of players have come through, the youngsters have come through. Chelsea have signed a couple of young players as well as they are looking at bringing in. Chelsea right now have about 7 defenders with Lacroix coming through, and looking at 2 experienced, we're going to tag them as old guards right now. Danny Welbeck did it with Manchester United. He has continually done it with Brighton, continually hunting his former club side Manchester United. Right now he's going to hunt Manchester United with their closest rivals as well. And then looking at Jordan Henderson, earlier today, Brighton, no, not Brighton, Brentford, they actually released a statement that they've agreed to terminate his contract based off on mutual agreement. And he has reported earlier today that everything is now finalized. Only what's remaining is medical and signing of the contract. That is what is holding these two particular deal. Chelsea have gotten Welbeck, they've gotten Henderson in that particular, and they are armoring their war chest. So with this right now, Real Madrid stated that they do not want to go for Enzo Fernandez, and reports earlier today is that they actually have come into discussion for Rodri with Manchester City. They've agreed everything based off on the side of Rodri, but they right now that could actually put off the fact that truly they are not coming for they're not coming for Enzo Fernandez. So right now in that midfield, there's Enzo Fernandez, there is Caicedo, and Henderson coming through would actually it's going to take off that Lacroix lacuna that was set, that was put there when they sold Santos to Manchester United. So now there's a blend of experience based off on the fact that Caicedo and Enzo, they've gotten that experience, Premier League experience. But right now, this is a man who has won the Premier League, Jordan Henderson, coming into this London squad. Let's see what he can bring into the armory for Xabi Alonso.
All right, Xabi trying to get the experience, because for some time now people have been blaming Chelsea for not doing well, especially when it comes to experienced players are helping the team to go far and to remain consistent in times of difficulty. All right, moving on now. News says Ajax have announced the signing of Nigerian striker Tolu Arokodare on a season-long loan from Wolverhampton Wanderers, and the deal is also coming with an option to buy. Remember last week we told you that Tolu got to where he had to force his move because he went to the speech and said, "I know they leave until I do something." Finally, he is going to Ajax. Moving on, after weeks of rumors linking Rodri to Madrid, like Nobu said earlier on, Los Blancos look set to finally make that particular deal to happen for him to move away from Manchester City. The World Cup winner, according to news, is willing to spend, of course, Madrid are willing to spend over 50 million to bring him in to their midfield and have made their first approach for his services. Now, it looks like Chelsea have their man, according to news. Now, these two guys are coming for them. Moving on. Of course, we are told that a U.S. midfielder Sebastian Butler, who featured at the World Cup, has joined Championship side at Middlesbrough, and that's an interesting one. John Stones and others have left Man City already. Savinho very much hasn't. However, according to news now, he has informed the club that he wants to move this summer. Tottenham have long been linked with the Brazilian winger, who has never put his step on starting 11 at Etihad since he joined them. Will this guy be going to Tottenham Hotspur? Tottenham Hotspur, they are recruiting fast and big names.
Well, it's all about trying not as much as possible to finish the way they finished in 2 consecutive seasons now. They struggled with relegation and narrowly escaped relegation, fighting for their lives in the final day. So it definitely means massive recruitment, and also having that man, Roberto De Zerbi, who definitely is a winner. He was able to change the fortunes of Brighton and place them where they are at this very moment. More like he laid the foundation, and also going into Marseille in the French League 1 and then returning back to the Premier League, and he has shown what he can do with the team that didn't really perform. Now give him more players and you actually see them perform. Right now you can join the conversation. The phone lines have been opened up. 0911 20022, 0911 20022, or 0707 454 1014, 0707 454 1014. Or you can send us reactions on Facebook. We are live on Facebook. Go on to Echo 100.7 FM or Echo FM. On Facebook and YouTube, we are live. You can send in reactions there, and also send in a reaction via WhatsApp via the number 0707 491 3438, 0707 491 3438. Because in a situation we cannot get your messages now over, calls now over, we take as much as we can on the program. Hello, good evening. Please do well to call back.
All right, it's time for you to join us in the conversation. It's still Echo Sports on Echo FM 100.7. We see a message on Facebook, Alago Chidozie, who says, good evening to you guys. Good evening to you, Alago Chidozie, for coming through. All right, on WhatsApp, good evening. Okay, that's not for us. Drop a message on WhatsApp 0707 491 3438. We've got a caller here. Good evening to you.
Hello.
Hello, good evening. All right, that is gone.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening to you.
I agree to you, my cat. How you be now?
They are.
Welcome. Okay,
all right,
let's see. Call me Hill.
All right, while we're waiting for your calls, something very interesting, is just the question I want to ask you before we pick the name. Okay, I think we have a caller here. Good evening to you.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening to you and welcome to the show.
Man, Sabi and Ogakachi, I agree to now.
Now, noble and man we sabi and Ogakachi now the same person.
All right.
I just call on that question and Unabona one.
Yes, so.
You're welcome.
This is the number Jesus.
Mama.
Daddy.
I greet you.
I'm very much happy for you people. The Lord will continue to strengthen you and fill the people with wisdom and knowledge.
Amen.
In the name of Jesus.
Amen. We appreciate you, Dona.
I want to thank God for how you people have been enlightening us. Especially, I want to talk about Chelsea, my club. I don't know what is he going to bring for Chelsea. I bet. At least. As for Webback, Webback always he looks like somebody who don't know what to do, but finally he always do something to any team he's playing against. But Henderson, when there are people that matters there, I don't know where Chelsea. All I know is that they should not disappoint us because they disappointed us this year that we are not in any. Europe.
Now they play Monday Night Football back to back.
But yet we still remain the world best. And Europe lawbreaker. The only team in the world that have collected everything that FIFA brought. I don't know who will break the record. So we still remain the king. At least I'm happy for them. I say may the good Lord continue to strengthen them and help them. At least, football give us joy. In fact, it seems as if that August, this August, when they will start, I think 16 or so.
Yes.
It's like you miss this Saturday self. I'm very much hungry about this Premier League.
All right.
Sometimes it gives us joy. It removes some trouble of this our nation and fill us with another,
temporary joy.
Oh, God bless you. God bless you.
All right.
Anyway, I have my case.
Thank you very much.
Continue the good work as the Lord will continue to do a good work in your life in Jesus' name.
Amen. And you too, brother. Thank you very much. All right. On WhatsApp, we have this one saying, good evening, Kachuma Gogo and Nobo, the sports chef. Good evening to you. I greet you both. I keep on enjoying you people. You people should ride on. We are listening. Huge update from Naza Yuzi. Good evening to you. All right, one more two calls before we call it a quiz. 0911 20022 0707 454 1014, or you drop us your message on WhatsApp on 0707 491 3438. Good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening, Kachi.
Good evening, welcome, brother.
Yeah, good evening, sir. What's up?
I greet you, my brother. How you doing now?
Yeah, that's fine. This is the Red Devil. Today calling from me.
Chidebra, it's been a while. You're welcome.
Yeah. So finally, just have time than Wedek. I think. Yeah. So I want to know which day they will start league, Premier League.
Premier League starts next month, and we're going to give you everything about it before we call it a quit in this show.
Okay. I want if the Chelsea fans that I'm going to put them home and away this season again. They should prepare.
My brother. Okay, thank you very much. Do enjoy the rest of your evening.
All right, thank you very much, brother. Hello, good evening to you.
Kacha, throw a salute.
We throw a salute too, bro. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Marvel the sports chef, the fox in the box.
Oh, don't go, make a lame gindo. I greet you. I greet you special. I can work out for you.
Austin Senegal from our park. God bless you, people.
Bless you too.
You see, the sky is blue, my blood is blue.
Everything is
everything
blue.
They blue.
That's Yanni. You see, Chelsea is cooking. Chelsea is cooking. by the time they will finish the meal, they will pass it, people will come and test it. Okay, no.
Because all right. All right, thank you very much, brother. All right, for the person that asked us, of course, the Premier League is beginning on Friday, August 21st. So we're very close to it, though. Those of you who are waiting, just be preparing. On August the 21st, it's going to be on a Friday. Arsenal will be up against the newly promoted side, Coventry City. So it's going to be Arteta up against the man he faced as a player. Talking about the stubborn Chelsea midfielder,
Frank Lampard.
All right, no, Allah, just make
that will be that for us right here because time is up. And also looking at an update from the WAFCON for the match that's ongoing. Talking about the Black Queens up against debutant Cape Verde. They've shown Nigeria how it's been done. Talking about experience getting the better of debutants. 2-0 as of reporting this particular information. Ghana are leading Cape Verde by 2 goals to 0.
And that's how we're going to call it to quit. Thank you very much for being part of the show this evening. Don't forget the Zico Sports that usually come your way on this particular frequency from Monday to Saturday every week. Of course, Saturday will bring you the correct score. I'm Kachi Sports. My first call me man Wesabi, and I've done this with no other person but
Nobuchi Gozirim. You can also call me Nobu the Sports Chef, the Fox in the Box, up the light. Until tomorrow, I'm saying buenas noches.
Bye for now.